This is one of mine. I have three. This is, I'd like to say my best one.
Me too.
That's my mother over there behind the desk.
This is the first day of school I've had in a long time.
So they have some questions they want to ask you. I've always got answers for them, but it's not always answers that they want to hear. Probably not always the right answer either. So they've got some questions they dreamed up and their classmates, and you just go with it, what you know, and we'll go on from there. Wing it a little bit today. Okay? You guys looked over these a little bit. Who wants to start? Right here.
Where are you born?
At Elton, Wisconsin. The central part of Wisconsin.
What was it like where you were? What was it like?
What was it like in Wisconsin?
We lived in the country. In a very nice country.
Was it wooded or?
Yeah, we lived on a farm and log.
Was it
And
was
wild.
it small? Was it a small place?
You have to speak up.
He wants to know if it was small.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean by wild? Kind of wild.
You know, country, you know,
You can.
country was just a wild, woody country.
Any animals?
Yeah. Kinds of animals.
What's the worst kind?
Well, I was afraid of wolves, but never had no trouble.
Ever had trouble with wolves?
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
How big was your family? How many brothers and sisters?
There were 10 of us. I had 6 sisters.
10.
3 brothers.
3 brothers? How old was your oldest brother? Yeah.
Well, he was born in 1910.
1910? Would that be right?
So,
Yeah. One that lived to be the oldest. I've got one here. What about your house? What was your house like? What was it made of? Was it like houses
we lived in a
today?
log house.
Pardon?
We lived in a log house.
Log house?
We had nice doors and windows, but it was a log house.
Did you have electricity?
Did you have electricity?
Oh, no.
No
We
electricity.
had lamps.
You had lamps? What kind of lamps?
Coal lamps. Kerosene.
Kerosene? Is it anything like this? Did it light up anything like this?
Oh, no. No, when we got our school lessons after supper, we had that lamp sitting on the table, and we had
You did your school lessons by lamp?
yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't hear you, but we're not hearing her either.
Can't hear very well back there.
I can, but can you hear?
Can you hear over there, Matt?
Yeah, I can hear all of it. Might help a little bit.
So you didn't go to school, you just did it at home then? You just had like school at home?
Where was your school at?
It was about 2.5 miles from our place, and we'd walk part the way on the railroad tracks, so we cut off about 1/2 mile. But we walked 2 miles to school.
2 miles? What did you do in bad weather? They always hear stories, they say, from their parents that they'd walk a mile in the snow. And
We waded snow just as deep as we could take a step in it for the full 2 miles.
So there was no school days out then, rarely. So you rarely missed school then?
We missed a lot of school.
Did you?
Sometimes the snow got too deep, we couldn't get through. We didn't have no snow plows,
You stayed home, right?
had to stay home.
How old were you when you started school?
How old were you when you started school? Like what age did you start going?
When I was 6.
Did you go to kindergarten or first grade? Did they have kindergarten?
I started at kindergarten at 5, but I got sick. But they didn't start me anymore until I was 6.
How long did you go? To what grade?
Went through the 7th grade.
What kind of food? I mean, what was the food like?
What kind of foods did you cook at home?
Oh, we had got anything we wanted that we raised. We had plenty of potatoes and beans and berries, things you could get right on the place. Berries were wild and we could get all we wanted. And then we had killed our own meat. So we had good eating. My mother was a good cook.
Are you?
Was it common for people to stop going to school after the 7th grade, or?
How far could you go in school? He wants to know, was 7th grade it, or could you go?
Through the 8th grade there. Then going to the high school was like leaving home, going to college here.
It wasn't in your area? You had to go away to go to high
You
school?
had to go away to go to high school. So I always tell the kids they really have a great privilege to go on to school.
Remember that.
Ask her how big and how many teachers and what the varieties were.
Yeah, at your school, I took her around the high school and showed her the high school. And we've got a small school. I mean, it's dinky compared to other schools. How big was your school?
3 rooms.
3?
And was that kindergarten through 8?
And then 7th and 8th and the other.
What was it again?
3 classes in 2 rooms and then 2 right there.
3 classes in 2 rooms and 2. How many teachers were in the building?
And one teacher for each room.
1? So you had 3 total? Wow. That's pretty tough.
How many people were in the classes?
How many people were in each class roughly?
So I'd say there was about a dozen or 15 maybe.
15. What were the teachers like?
Real nice, yeah. And lady teachers, 2 rooms, and then 7th and 8th, there was usually a man teacher. And they were all really good teachers. I think back, I don't think we had better teachers anyway.
Are you sure?
Other than your one sitting there?
All right. You skipped one here. How did you heat your house? How did you heat? What kind of heat did you have? Like today we have furnaces. Yeah, heat.
We had a wood stove.
Was it cold in the winter?
Cold in the winter, and I had to carry wood in to keep things going.
Where was your bedroom? Did you have it upstairs?
We had upstairs.
Oh, did you? Did you share a room with anyone? Did you have to share a room?
Oh, yes.
What else? Was there? Yeah.
Did you ever have a chance to like earn money other than just on your farm or whatever?
Did you ever have a job where you could earn money other than just where you're
When
at?
you were younger?
We had too much to do.
Too much? What were your jobs you had to do?
Well, carry in the wood, feed the cows, milk. And in the summertime, we had to hoe the potatoes. We didn't have a plow for it. We had to hoe them, raise them up to us.
what kind of games did you play back then? What was a common game for kids to play?
Made up the games. Mostly girls, so. Made up our own what we wanted, but
Any games they play nowadays that some of these people would be familiar with?
we entertained ourselves.
Did you get to see your friends very often? Was that common, or?
We had close neighbors that I loved them all their lives, was gone. You have close friends like that, they're like family. You want to play with.
When you were kids, was there time to go play and do stuff like that? When you were a kid, did you have time to go play and?
Well, just mostly on Sundays, we went to those places. We always went to Sunday school and church. They're the only place to go.
So the rest of the time you had to play with your sisters?
What's your best memory of your childhood?
But it was all good times. It wasn't a worrisome time anymore. It was good times.
Right. You want to know what's your favorite memory about being a kid?
Well, got all of it. I had a good mother and daddy. And we got along real good at home. We had good neighbors. Everybody ready to help anybody else that needed help.
How close were your neighbors, like distance-wise?
About half a mile was the closest neighbor.
Half a mile?
Did you ever go on dates?
After I quit school and went to work, I got a job, $3 a week, and that's how come I quit school. I thought I was helping out by getting out and taking care of myself.
I didn't know you got a job for school. What was your job that you got?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping? $3 a week? How's that compared to today? What could you do with $3 back then?
But of course, what could do? Things didn't have the prices on them they did today, so we
Sure.
stretched it and made it good.
Could you live on $3 a week though?
Well, I'm working, and getting my forward. It's hard to keep those.
Yeah.
Help the home by being out of the way.
Sure. So how old were you when you had your first job?
I was about 15.
15? Well, he asked, did you and other teenagers usually go on dates and things like that? Did you have dates? And
After out of school, when I was about almost 17, I met my husband. And we really didn't go on a date, and I didn't see me went in the service, and I didn't see him anymore for 2 years. And we come back out of service. And then we went in another year. And we got out living there.
why did he go in the service?
When the First World War broke out, all the young men in town went. Dropped everything and went.
What'd that do to like farms and stuff like that? That put
We just had the younger ones had to get out and help the parents.
What'd your mom and dad do for a living?
what'd your mom and dad do for a living? What was their occupation?
They had the little farm, and my father had asthma and was sick most of the time, so he couldn't do much. That's why we were 6 girls, but we had to get out and work. So we kept that little farm going till I was gone, and then he sold it.
What's the, they have one here, they talked about dates and how old could a girl be when she started dating? Like today, it's customary to be, used to be 16, now it's getting a little bit younger, 15, 16, probably even.
15 was 14 and 15.
So it's roughly the
Some
same.
girls and some young people that days, yeah. Know of it, but
What'd you do on a date? I mean, what was your today what they do, well, you tell me what you do. On a date, what's, all right, you go to the movie.
Go to the movies, go out to eat.
They go out to eat, they go to the movies, and then they go, maybe bowling. I don't go there. Things like that. What'd you do?
well, you didn't go anywhere unless there was something planned, you know. And there was, they had parties, bazaars and things, and little ones, little country stuff.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed them. No picture shows.
No?
Not unless you went to any courthouse.
How often did you go to any go?
Not very often because you went with horse and buggy.
All right. We live.
Remember when the first cars come to our little town, it was exciting.
When would that have been? Can you recall about what time period it was? What year might that have been?
Oh, well, when I was about 10, that would have been
1912?
1912.
1912?
But there was people in closer to town that had cars before they come out there as far in the country. That didn't matter.
How old were you before it was common that everybody had a car?
Well, at the time I was married, it was in 1920, it was, cars were pretty plentiful.
1920? We talked about the price of cars, Model Ts, and things like that, how they went from $400 then to like $260 and price drop. Do you remember Henry Ford? I mean, you remember him? Did
Fords were the first cars that come out.
what color
Well, I
were they?
remember,
What color were they? Black? All black?
all black.
Talked about that. They didn't like the idea of every car being the same. Did you skip over anything here? Did your family ever own a car that you can recall?
Never owned a car.
Your mom or dad did? You always just didn't have horse and buggy? They just had horse and buggy then?
We had a horse and buggy.
We take it for granted when they want to go to, let's say, our Walmart, places like that, places to eat about 12 miles away. Is that about right, Westville? 12, 15 miles away. How long would it take you to get somewhere on a horse and buggy? 15 miles
I went
to any given.
And my mother and dad would go and get our school clothes. It would take them all day to get there and do the shopping and get that done.
All day. I'll show you where it's at. We kind of pointed it out on the map. Roughly somewhere right here where it says Green Bay, Wisconsin, right here. Up above, here's Anago, somewhere in this area. It's not on the map, it's too small to be listed. So, all day trip, all day to go to Walmart. They didn't have one. What kind of stores did you have? What kind of stores were there compared to today?
The store at our little town was a mercantile store. It just carried everything. Yeah, the one store carried everything. The crackers, they come in a barrel.
What about meat?
We cut it. If we wanted to cut it.
What did they cut it off of?
And saws and knives,
I mean, was it fresh meat or was it meat hanging?
you know, well, they mostly had smoking.
Smoked meat? What is smoked meat? I mean, a lot of these people have heard of smoked sausage and things like that. But
They put some meat in it, and they'd have the smokehouse, they put the meat in the smokehouse, and with whatever they put in it, you know, to burn, right? Smoked and make it meat and good. That was good.
yeah, what was the worst kind of sicknesses that you would run into?
Well, when the flu came through in 1918, that's the first it was brought into this country, and it swept the country. It was terrible, because so many houses, it always took one or more out of almost every house. They didn't have anything to combat it like they would have today. And it was sad.
Just standard flu, like we know of today, the regular flu that most everybody gets today. Here's a good one for you. You didn't have inside bathrooms, running water? No?
No running water unless you went to the creek.
What? How did you drink? Did you drink the water out of the creek?
No, we had a spring, and barrels sunk in the ground in that spring, kept coming up and then barrel and overflowing. That was where we got our water.
How many times did you take a bath a week?
Well, whenever we took an ocean, we started the water up. Used the wash tub.
The question is, was it hard to get bath water ready?
Well, yeah, you carry it up in buckets.
Had to eat it?
Put it on the stove.
That'd make it a little tough then.
Yeah.
Did you brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Toothpaste.
We used
That's a
soda
great
and
question.
salt.
Use what?
What'd you use?
Soda and salt.
Would that be like baking soda today? Something
Yeah.
similar?
Baking soda and salt. Mixed together.
Baking soda and salt. Was there any such thing as toothpaste?
If there was, we didn't get it. We couldn't afford it.
When they want to know, did you have regular toothbrushes?
Yeah.
Were they similar?
They weren't like nice like they are today, but they were pretty nice.
What they make them out of?
I don't know.
You don't know? Is it like hair or something, like horsehair or something?
Bristle like.
Bristle like?
How far was the church away from your house?
How far was church?
It was in the little town.
A couple miles in maybe?
Yeah.
Did girls wear cosmetics? Did they wear makeup?
No, we didn't have any. We couldn't afford them, I don't suppose.
When's the first time you remember getting any type of cosmetics?
Girls usually got it when they got, you know, earning their own money and got it themselves.
So it was available?
Wanted it, we used to do it without it, so you didn't afraid about it. If I didn't,
Was it very common to have it or uncommon for girls to wear makeup?
it was uncommon for us to wear makeup because not many did it.
Did you make your clothes, or did you buy your clothes, or?
Well, my mother made our clothes.
Did you have any store-bought clothes?
Once in a while, we'd get a new store-bought dress. We'd order them from my family orders here and there.
Is that right?
How'd you mow your yard?
Well, most of the time, they didn't get high enough to mow with a scythe or a grass hook.
Anybody know what that is?
Yeah,
Sorry.
little boats,
Kind of like the Grim Reaper carries.
yeah.
Yeah. You had one, Ashley?
Is life in general easier now than it was when you were a kid?
She wants to know, would life be easier now or when you were a kid? General, life in general.
My goodness. I don't regret going, but it'd be hard to go back and do the things that, if you had to do the things that we did.
Take a lot for granted, you know, a lot of people do.
I think lots of times today, people don't know how to appreciate how nice they have it.
Do you have a radio in your house, or you have electricity and radio?
You want to know about, you want to know if you had a radio.
No, never heard of it.
When did you get your first radio, do you recall?
Oh, goodness, not for years and years. We didn't have a radio at home at all. There was no such thing.
So you left home roughly, what, 1915, 16, somewhere in there? You left home in 1915 or 16?
Yeah. Work.
Did they have a radio where you worked? No? Did you go anywhere to listen to a radio or anything? How did you hear about World War I breaking out? I mean, how does news like that spread?
News like that in my mouth. Just people, the news came in and then people just from one to the other, you know, how things go. Travel pretty fast, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, that's what you want. How often did you see a newspaper?
That hasn't changed.
Well, we didn't take a newspaper because we couldn't afford it. But my uncle and aunt did, they usually.
How often did they get it?
I think they got one every day.
Every day?
I'm not sure.
Is that local news or
It
is
might
that?
have been a weekly paper, I'm not sure about that.
How much do newspapers cost?
I have no idea. Couldn't have been a whole lot, because we wouldn't have had it.
How old were you when you saw your first airplane? Do you recall that?
Well, I don't remember, but that was a long time later. That was exciting. And you hadn't saw anything like that before.
Were you still a kid or were you married or
Well,
you're married? So that would have been 1920, 1919 after that?
after that, yeah. 1920.
What's the first TV you ever saw?
Yeah, it must have been about 1947, 50.
Late 40s, 50s. Have we missed anything else under the questions that we've made answer? Anybody have any other questions on childhood or something like that? Ready? All right, well, the first questions we asked you were just about being a kid, things like that. You might remember, so we jar some stuff out of you. The next few we're going to ask you will be about things that we just got through studying from like 1920s and on. Really make you jog your memory on it.
I've seen sights they'll never see, I suppose, because, and we could ride from one little town to the other.
Was it expensive?
No, really wasn't.
Like penny or dime or
No, I
nickel?
think it was 15 cents
15 cents?
to ride from one little town to the other.
What do you have? What?
I asked if her husband was still alive.
What do you remember about bears? I know you told me a few stories about bears. I mean, how common was it to see a bear, and were they a problem?
I never saw a bear, but always when we picked berries, I guess it was about a beers, but as long as they could get beers, they didn't bother you if you didn't get too close and you got cut or something. So our dad would tell us that if we heard it crackling in the bushes to get away from it. So we never encountered bears. They're really picking.
I know is it her nephews that come down usually once a year? Yeah. I know your nephews that bring your sister down usually once a year or so. Those two guys, what were their names?
Now, and George,
Yeah, Ralph and George. I remember them talking about the bears. And
here, and then wolves, you'd hear them in the night. And at one night, one winter, they would come and scratch on the doors and try to get in.
Did one ever get to the house?
How close did you ever get to the wall? Did they ever get in your house? Did they ever-
No, they didn't get in the house. They'd scratch on the doors open. My dad was away that winter for, and I wanted to get better, try to get better with that. And my mother was there, you know, he wasn't there, so it was scared of her, scared of him.
You ever pick mushrooms?
Mushrooms? Did you
No, we
mushroom?
never made mushrooms, didn't know they were good. I imagine there'd been lots of them because it was fresh, you cut a timber ground, you know, and that's where they grow. And we didn't know anything about it.
How old were you when you got married?
I got married in May and I would have been 18 and
17, right at 18. Did girls marry earlier, or
I girls married earlier than that.
did it? What was the youngest that you can recall somebody getting married?
I had a cousin that was married when she was 13.
13?
13 and they just got along fine and they had a nice farm. They passed away, they had things nice.
That'd be a little uncommon now, wouldn't it? What do you remember about World War I? Oh, did he? What do you remember about World War I? Yeah, you got on here, how did it affect you? I mean,
It just took all the young men out of the homes, you know, it's sad. Like it'd be now, it wouldn't be a whole lot different right now, it would just be a sad time.
were they fired up to go do it though?
Oh, yes.
They were?
That's why I say when it first come in at the war, they're found, all the young men just dropped everything, they're ready to go.
Why do you think that is? I mean,
They feel like they can help or something, they want to do their part.
do their part? Would it have been a chance to see the world too?
Yeah, I suppose.
It's an
I
opportunity.
don't think that was foremost in their minds, so coming up like it does, I think it was first.
Did a lot of people come back from World War I that you knew, or?
And some came back, many that didn't. There was 3 and that we knew real well, that they didn't get a cannon shut. You know, got it in, but it didn't get, they didn't latch it down good by mistake, and it killed, it come back and it killed all 3 of them with our neighbors.
Did your husband ever tell you anything about World War I? Did your husband ever tell you anything about the war?
No, that's one thing we didn't talk much about it.
You know where he was shipped off
They
to?
didn't seem to want to talk about it.
Where was he shipped off to?
France and Germany. And
Did he like the Army? Probably not the war, but did he like the
Liked
Army?
it, and after he got out those 2 years when the war was over, he went back in for another year. But he stayed in the States, and it was,
Were you married then? You weren't married then. Who else had one? Ashley?
What do you remember about 1920s, like stock market crash and
Do you remember like the stock market crash? Do you remember the stock market crash in the 20s, late 29?
never.
I know you lost a fortune in the stock market, but you don't remember the stock market crash and the start of the Great Depression? Do you remember anybody talking about the Depression?
Yes, oh mercy, yes.
What? How did it affect your life? Did it affect it much?
Well, it did affect everybody. The depression was, we didn't have it too hard because Dad had a job. He worked at home, and a lot of people didn't have that regular job, and it was really hard on them.
What home are you talking about? You worked at the home. So you're talking about you're being moved back to Indiana. You're living in Indiana. The home that she's talking about is down in Nicetown. It's called the Soldiers and Sailors Home, or Morton Memorial. It's the high school that's there. I don't know, probably an hour away from here, hour or so.
Some people didn't have regular jobs. The depression was really hard on them. You just had to do without everything we could do without.
How did it affect you? I mean, did it affect your lifestyle much, or was it pretty much the same?
But we just barely, $1 a day is what they got us at home. So they had to keep a family. So it's pretty hard.
How old was the Soldiers and Sailors Home when you started working there?
It was there when we came here, so I couldn't help.
When did you move to Indiana?
In 1923.
23? I would assume, I don't know, but I would assume that the home opened up after First War. That'd be correct, you know?
I imagine.
So,
He was there in 1937.
right. Alright. What do you remember about the 20s? Was there anything about the 20s that you recall that were kind of unusual? See, we read stuff about jazz and flappers and things like that, girls dancing and a lot of drinking
I
going
heard
on.
about things like that, but it never affected me none.
You were a good girl in that.
Well, I didn't get out much. Pretty close, yeah.
Sure. What else we got?
How did World War II affect you?
Second War. What do you remember about the Second War?
Well, I had 2 boys in. One boy got injured in over by the Philippines. We were over there, I can't think of the name. Yeah, he's back injured. I had another boy that lives in California now. He was joined the Navy, and he was just out of high school. He joined the Navy, and he was on one ship, General Hershey, and he was on that ship. It was a maiden voyage to start out for that ship, and he was on it till the war was over. And then when it was over, it was sold to a mercantile company, so it wasn't a Navy ship anymore.
Were you antsy? I mean, were you always on pins and needles as they were, when they were gone, were you always nervous or?
Yeah, yes. I just prayed they'd be okay, and I think the Lord took care of them.
I know, the town I grew up in, Shirley, is where they were at, and they got a memorial for all the soldiers, people who fought, and those who had been killed in war. How many people didn't make it back from Shirley? Can you remember?
I did, some of them didn't, but I can't remember just offhand.
How many?
Five.
Five.
So who was the first president you voted for?
Jerry.
I couldn't hear it.
You wanna
I
know?
was hard to hear. I don't have to tell you that, do I?
Who is the first president that you voted for?
I only voted for one president, and that was President Roosevelt.
Which election, his first one or all of them? Did you vote for him the first time he ran or all of
I
them?
only voted one time.
First time he got in office, huh?
And then
What was, we talked about,
Did you vote for him?
did you vote for FDR? Did you vote for him? Oh, yeah.
But I like Eisenhower. He was my favorite president.
Why did you vote any more times?
Why didn't you vote any more than that one time?
I don't know, I really don't know, I just felt like I didn't know. I think I felt like I didn't know really who was the best man, and I'd let know more about their abilities, you know.
You guys look through this list, we don't have time to get through the rest of them, but what do you have? Go ahead.
What decade changed your life the most?
She wants to know, of all the decades that you've seen, which one changed your life the most?
I don't know, I think, as I raised a family, is the most interesting, because you had to try your best to do your best.
Sure. When was your last one out of the house? Judy? That's my mother. She's the last of the Mohicans. When did she leave home? When did you get rid of her, I guess?
Well, too soon.
Was it the 50s or 60s, or do you recall?
Judy, when did you leave home?
59.
59, I think.
So you were done raising kids in 59 then,
She graduated at 58, and she married in 59.
and you weren't glad to see her go.
What do you remember about the 50s?
About the 50s. Well, I don't know. Right now, I can't.
Do you remember Elvis? You got Elvis on here. Somebody asked you
Heard a
about.
lot about Elvis.
Were you a big Elvis fan?
Yeah.
No.
Elvis is okay as far as I'm concerned.
He was okay. Did you have a TV? Did you and your husband have a TV? Did you and your husband have a TV?
You know, they had a
What about a radio? You did have a radio? Was that a big source of entertainment for your kids?
radio, yeah, I got radio.
Did you? Pat want to know, did you or your husband have a car?
Oh, yeah.
When did you get your first car? Do you recall?
About 1932.
1932. How'd you get around without a car?
Well, we had good friends that had cars.
Bummed a ride every now and then. Fair enough.
And you walked.
What?
If you could go back in time, what decade would you go to?
They got on here, if you could go back and travel in time, where would you go first? You could visit them all, but first stop would be where? childhood, or would you go back to childhood, or?
I liked all of it, and life is like, you know, and it's all good. And you have your hard times and your good times. It's all good. I just wouldn't want to go back to a certain time.
None in particular?
At the time, you like it.
Sure.
Did you like your wedding? Did you like your wedding?
Do you remember your wedding?
Oh, yes.
Was it a big wedding or a small wedding?
We married in the church, but it was just friends, family.
You didn't elope, did you?
Did you have a honeymoon?
Yeah. Didn't want to know, did you have a honeymoon?
No,
Did you go anywhere?
Pardon? Did you ever have a job after you got married outside of the home? Never did? She watched me when I was a kid. That was chore. Who's your favorite American?
I'd like to say Abraham Lincoln.
What about during your lifetime?
Or my lifetime.
Most admirable American. Most admirable American.
There's a lot of them.
I know there are.
Well, I like Eisenhower.
Eisenhower?
Yeah, I thought he was real good statesman.
Did you hear a lot about Eisenhower in the war?
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah, leader.
Did your husband ever send you postcards when he was in the war? Or letters?
Did you get any postcards from your husband while he was in the
I
war?
guess letters and postcards.
Do you still have the
But I'd
postcards?
only signed that a couple of times before he left. So I really didn't, you know, I didn't even know if he'd come back to that same place or anything.
You didn't want to get too sweet on him,
He'd
man.
come right back.
What was your favorite
And then he
entertainment?
had already enlisted for another year. And he went and served that year and he come right back. And then we got married. But so
She has a
mine
question.
was mostly letters and cards.
Who's your favorite entertainer? Of all time.
I like country singing.
Music?
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything? We're getting close. We're gotta wrap up. Hey, before you go, hang on a second. Have a seat. Hang on. Get one last thing. Pardon?
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I'm glad I met all you kids. Just get everything out of school you can.
Okay, you're at it. Didn't get through all of it. You got to do a lot of it.
Yeah, yes,
You can call me Lee. Next year at least anyway.
You come back. Okay.
A lot of them there.
Can I get a 4th-generation picture to put on the website? Think that'd be
I
cool?
already got one room.
Would you like to be on the webpage? It's okay with mom and dad?
Ty, go up there.
I'll show you what it'll do, okay?
She's gonna take your picture, Ty. Go on up. Tyler.
I'll go on a big roller coaster with you if you can do me this favor.
Great place. Okay, man. Come here, Ty. Here you go. Stand right here.
Hey, stand it.
No, come over here, stand for a minute.
Can't hear by Sparrow.
Come on, hurry up.
I'm gonna have to say 1, 2, whatever you do, don't smile, Tyler. Don't you smile. 3. Now you're smiling.
John?
1 more.
Hey, we're there. Well, Grandma, we didn't get through everything, and my second and third period classes are mad at me because you haven't come in to see them. Well, I don't agree with that. Oh, yeah, it was. This is all the stuff they wanted to know. These are things that they don't know. This isn't in their history book. And you're our only resource right now. Be that good or bad, right? You said you were our only resource, be that good or bad, right? Can, I will. Who wants to see your flower? Mine away. You come back one day next week? If you can muster that up and let you recoup? If you're up to it, would you? I hear you talk. And we can get some different questions.
See, that is on good. That's how you.
She volunteered to come back in today. We have new questions for you, another set of questions. She's already been in once. We bombarded her with, 40-some questions before. I think Craig was in that class. Yeah, there he is. These are a different set. Kevin, give me a copy of those so we'll get them. We've got some questions about childhood again, and then some about adulthood. Hopefully, we'll get through them all. Fair enough. Can you hear her back here through this when she talks? Let me know. Mom, you might want to turn that microphone or that speaker towards the camera so we pick it up better. Okay. Background information. You can just give them some background information, where you're from and born and.
I was born in Wisconsin. Been 98 years in August. I'm glad to be here.
They've got
Glad to meet y'all.
they've got some questions about things that pertain to history that we don't get out of the textbook, just like the other class has. And a lot of them are generic questions that I can't really answer. We can assume a lot of things, but we don't really know. So, who wants to start off? You look through some of these, and who wants to start off? Yeah, go ahead.
That's the one I made up. In school, what did they use for pencils, like writing utensils?
I can hear you.
You have to speak up. I'll have to ask her again sometimes. He wanted to know, what did you use when you were in school? What did you use for pencils and paper and whatnot?
We had pencils and paper.
Did you?
We had pencils and mostly in our earlier years, we had this rough paper. But it was good.
Did you have erasers on your pencils? Did you?
We had ink wells in our desks.
Ink wells? Is it
Pins you dip in.
kind of like that?
Yeah, pins you dip in.
It's
Yeah.
a fountain pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you dipped them in?
Can't see either.
You got them.
I got one.
Sure.
What do you recall about the Titanic?
What do you recall? Do you recall anything about the Titanic? What do you?
Oh, yes. And the news came through our little town about the Titanic. It just broke everybody's heart. That's all they could talk about. Because being in a quiet place and hearing something like that was sort of devastating. I was 10 years old and I can just remember my dad and mother just sat another evening talking about how terrible that was.
How quickly did you hear about it?
Well, I couldn't tell you, but it probably was a day or two. Because the news and everything on the papers.
Day or two later. They've got one on school here that we kind of skipped over. What subjects did you study at school? What were your main subjects?
Reading and writing.
3 R's, huh?
Yeah.
Language?
And geography.
Do you have any foreign languages? A lot of these kids take Spanish, French, things like that. No?
What was your favorite subject?
What was your favorite subject?
Arithmetic. I used to love arithmetic better than... I didn't like geography, and now I do. I love everything in geography, and I didn't like geography in school.
What about history?
I didn't care much for history. No.
What about now, then? What about now, though?
I like it, yeah. Yeah, I do. I like to read, history articles.
She's a good history teacher, too. She taught me states, capitals, presidents, vice presidents. I knew all of them by the time, first grade, kindergarten. I knew all of them. Over and over and over and over.
Too much knowledge.
That's right. Yeah. How did you learn in classes? Did you have any little gimmicks that they taught you, or was there...
No, we would just study, read, class and study. Teachers we had 3 classes in one room.
I need to speak in that.
And, so they weren't very long periods, but we had strict teachers, but we had good ones.
You had 3 classes in one room?
Mm-hmm.
Did it get kind of unorganized at times?
Not really. I don't remember being disorganized. But they ran it real well, I think, as I can think back now that far. They done real well.
What were the punishments? Like, what did they get when they got in trouble?
You said the teachers were strict. They want to know what kind of punishments did they deal out.
Well, I stood them in a corner and I saw some get smacked in the palm of their hands with a ruler once in a while. I never did. Not that I might have not observed it sometimes, but they didn't catch me with it.
Did they ever get paddled or anything like that? No, any of the kids, did they have paddling?
Yeah, just some of the older boys, once in a while, they would go outside and do something. And the principal would take them to the basement, paddling.
Paddle in the
But
basement.
I don't think it happened very hard. It was just embarrassment, I think, more than anything.
What was the first movie you saw?
You remember the first movie you got to see?
I only saw one movie in my life, and I don't remember what it was. A silent movie.
It was a silent movie?
Mhm.
You remember who it had in it? Do you remember who it had in it?
No, I don't. I I enjoyed it, but I don't remember.
Well, they do a silent movie, obviously. Did they play piano, or how'd that work?
Oh, yeah, they had the music. And then the person told what they're all about, you know.
Right. It's kind of hard to follow, I think, having to read and listen to somebody and watch the movie all at the same time.
Yeah. But it,
Did you have a lot of books to read?
Books. How available were books for you to read?
we had a library that we could, that was a pretty big one. We could choose our books to read.
You guys do?
You talked last time about games that you play, types of games. They want to know what kind of games that you might play.
Well, lots of times in school it was guessing games and sort of made up games, but sometimes it'd be about geography and you know, bring all that in just to have something to do. But we had fun out of it, you know. We were doing what we wanted to.
Did you have breaks? Did you have breaks at school, like recesses?
Oh yes, we had recesses. We look forward to those.
What did you do? What did you do, like at recess?
Well, we just walked around the schoolyard. The boys played ball. They had half of the school ground for ball game.
Did you have toys as a kid?
Yeah, we didn't have many toys either.
What kind of toys would you have, or would somebody
The
have?
girls had dolls, and the boys usually had the sled or the wagon. But that's about for them.
No Nintendo or anything like that? No Nintendos or anything like that?
No, no.
What about candy?
Candy?
Candy. Well, we didn't have much candy, no. Once in a while we'd make some candy. We made pool candy, that's what I like to do.
What is
Still make it?
At Christmas time, the pool taffy. I like that.
What other kind of candy did you make?
Chocolate fudge.
Chocolate fudge? What's the stuff you used to make for us all the time? Just like burnt sugar, or what was that?
I don't remember.
Used to melt the sugar in a pan, and I don't know if it was brown sugar or what. Do you remember? Give it
It's
to
probably white sugar, it's probably syrup that
Could have been,
put in.
yeah.
They're making the brown sugar syrup, or the brown sugar syrup for breakfast.
That's right. Every time I'd stay with her, I stayed with her a lot when I was a kid because I lived in the same town. My mom worked in town, so she dropped the three of us off, and we'd stay with Grandma each day. And she never bought syrup; she always made her own syrup. So, if I wanted store-bought syrup, I had to get it at my house, so not at hers. When you were a kid, was there anything like Pepsi or Coke?
No. Lemonade.
Lemonade? What could you buy? Could you buy something like from a fountain, soda fountain, or?
Probably in town, but see, I wasn't in a bigger town. So, we didn't have the things out in a little town like they'd have a more advanced thing than a larger place.
What did most of the kids do when they got thirsty? They just drank water, or?
Oh, yeah. Water and milk. He drank lots of milk.
How many people in here just drink water or milk? Nothing else?
I drink a lot of water.
Did? But you do drink other things, right?
I drink coffee.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Was it common to go to the doctor, or like the dentist?
I'm sorry.
You want to know, was it common? How often would you see a doctor? Did it have to be really
They
serious?
had
Or?
to be really sick. The doctors come to you. They done all the, and they had the horse and buggies in too, and it took them quite a while to get there. But the doctors did all the running. I don't know how they did it, but you didn't have a doctor unless you was really sick.
Did your mother take care of you then, for the most part? What about a dentist? Did you ever go to the dentist when you were a kid?
Never did.
Was it common for people to go to the dentist? No?
You didn't get anything like that unless it was something real serious.
So what'd you do for just a standard toothache?
Oh, there was some kind of a liniment, a hot liniment they could put in there that would ease the pain.
What if you needed a filling?
Well, you didn't get it.
So, who pulled your teeth if they needed to be pulled? Well, how did you pull teeth then?
Well, we had to go to the dentist to get them pulled.
He did pull them though?
I had the toothache one time. I was working, and it was so bad. There was an old doctor that, and he wasn't a dentist. He was just an old doctor, and I went over to him to see if he could help, and he said he just had to pull it, and it was a solid tooth. And I thought he was going to take half of my face off before he got that out. Oh, it hurt so bad.
So dentists weren't very common either then?
No.
Not like they are today. What did your family do for a living?
Oh, my dad had a farm, and he wasn't able to work, so it wasn't a very big farm, but us kids did most of the work on it because he raised mostly potatoes for ours. Everybody raised potatoes, hundreds of acres of potatoes were raised.
You told us that last time there were 10 kids, right? Your parents, and they had 7 girls and 3 boys. What did you raise on your farm for like a cash crop to sell for money?
Like what?
What did you raise to sell for money on the farm? Do you have a cash crop, let's say?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but your words are...
Did he have a cash crop? Did you raise anything that you sold for money?
Well, yeah, if we had more potatoes than we needed at home, we sold them, but not so often did we have excess.
Did you raise ginseng?
Yes, my dad raised ginseng.
Did-
And he went out in the woods when he was able to, because he had asthma, and he couldn't get out and get a regular job because he couldn't be there. And so when he felt better, he'd just go out in the woods and hunt ginseng and yellow root. And
What about mushrooms? If they find out.
he'd hang that up and it would dry, and he would get a lot. That was worth a good bit of money.
Well, it's worth a lot of money now. What did they use the ginseng for?
I never knew what they used it, but just medicine. That's all I knew it was
Right.
made into medicine.
Did they ever find mushrooms out in the woods?
They asked that last time. He wants to know about the mushrooms again.
The mushrooms, we never did. I saw lots of mushrooms, and I'm sure that there's a lot of good ones, but we was afraid of them, so we didn't eat them.
They didn't eat it.
We didn't know the good ones from the bad.
What did all your uncles do for a living?
They were loggers. I had one uncle that he'd have 2 or 3 logging camps going in the wintertime. Before he passed away, he was They said he worth about $500,000 from just logging, but that's hard work. Mostly winter work.
Would that have been your dad's brothers?
With my dad's brother, and then my other uncles, they, all of them log. Because that land up there, when we went there, when we were little, it was big timber. And there hadn't been any big logs cut out. So the log, and then there was a mill at our town. And that was where everybody got work in the summertime, was to work at the mill.
You told us last time you lived in a log house. How many rooms did you have in your log house? 4 rooms? I asked yesterday, how many of the kids slept in the same room?
Well, we had about 4 of us because we did school in the day. We had a bed downstairs too.
4 in a room?
Mm-hmm.
Did the boys get their own room?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem right, 7-to-3 ratio. What else we got on the kids? On the front page.
You make room for all of them.
Did anybody have to sleep on the floor? Had pull-out beds?
Yeah, we had cots. We slid under the beds.
What you got?
Like deodorant and stuff
Cots
like
folded
that.
up and slide right under the bed.
All right, now they've got a hygiene question for you here. They want to know, did they sell deodorant like in 1910? Was there such a thing as deodorant?
No. It's just soap and water.
Soap and water? So no deodorant? No one had deodorant or anything like that?
Not that I know of. Way back, yeah, later on, yeah.
But when you were
As I
growing
was
up,
older,
no?
But when I was little, I don't remember any deodorant.
Right.
My dad had shaving lotion.
Okay, here's the biggie that they really wanted to know. You didn't have indoor plumbing, right? No indoor plumbing, no indoor
No.
restroom. You had outhouses?
Yeah.
They want to know what you use for toilet paper.
Yeah.
They're getting kind of personal now, aren't they?
Years and robots.
Seriously, catalogs and things like that?
Yeah, that's right. There was.
There was no toilet paper in there.
Right. You just done.
Answers your question.
When you didn't have any better, when there wasn't any better, you just used what you had.
Well, toilet paper's a blessing then, isn't it?
Well, it's a great blessing.
Sure.
I know that's hard to do.
That is hard for some of them to believe.
Better than corn.
All right. What about the last one on here is soap. You say you have soap. What kind of soap was it?
Yeah. It was a white bar, let's see. I can't think
White
of the name of it right now, but it was a white bar, a nice white bar of soap. And then they had the yellow bar of soap, the old kind that you wash the clothes with.
You wash your clothes with bar soap? With a bar of soap, that's how you wash your clothes?
Yeah, you rubbed it on your scribbing board. You done your washing on a board, and you put the soap on that, and then you put your clothes on it and scrubbed.
I mean, you rub your clothes over a board?
Oh yeah, over a washboard, you know, that had the rough top on it, metal top, and then you wrung them out by hand. There was no wringers then. I remember when we got our first wringer that was fastened on the tub, and that was a big help. My, that was a big help. And then later on, when we got one of these, you saw them probably look like a wooden tub, and then they had a push and pull we had one of those. That was wonderful. And then when I got the first washer with a motor on it and had a ringer on it, you know, that was really a lot of help. People don't know how nice they got it today. They realize.
Does everybody know what she's talking about, the ringer?
Yeah.
The old tub, it's got two rollers up there. Good, squeezing water out. Did you ever have to make soap? Did you ever make any soap?
No.
You didn't have to?
No, I had an aunt that made soap,
She made soap?
but we never did. My mother never made soap.
Just bought it? Flip the page over. What you got there?
Girls ever wear pants?
No.
No? Girls didn't wear pants?
No.
Why
I
didn't you?
never saw a girl with locked hair until I was, every girl had the long hair. And I never saw, it didn't start cutting her hair until, well, I was a young girl and my sister cut her hair and she looked so different. And it wasn't too long before there was, you know, they were cutting it, it was a regular thing.
I've never seen her wear a pair of pants. You?
You know,
I've never seen you in a pair of pants, period. Never had a pair of pants.
My question. And I think it was like 1920, wasn't it, when they could start voting, when girls could vote? How old were you in 1920? Like 18? Is that like when they voted?
He's asking about voting. About voting.
about voting.
Do you remember when women were eligible to vote? Is that a big thing?
Yeah. And they didn't turn out very good either. They weren't used to it, so it took them a while. You know, to get used to it. They really realized that they couldn't vote.
Who's the first president you voted for?
I thought it was Franklin Roosevelt, Eisenhower. I was mistaken on that. I didn't vote for Franklin Roosevelt.
You didn't vote for FDR?
No, I voted for Ike. I liked Ike.
Why did you like that? We got that on for later.
It seemed like he got so much good news that he was so intelligent and helped us well in leading the army.
He's a war hero, wasn't he?
That he seemed really interested in saving everyone, helping everyone he could that I liked.
They wanted to know about funerals. Kind of a morbid question, but they had a few things. Were they long? Where did they have them? Could you actually view the body, or was that common to do that?
Yeah, but in a way back, when they didn't, what do you call it?
Bomb.
Embalm. You had to bury them the next day or the next, because it wasn't a common thing. And people that could afford it were the only ones that were involved.
So when you were a kid, did you ever go to funerals or anything like that? Did they ever have a viewing like in a house or anything?
Yes. And the people were in the houses. They weren't involved. They weren't taken to a funeral home, so they were at home.
What else we done with childhood?
Do you have a bicycle?
No.
No. Did any of your brothers or sisters have
My
a
brother
bicycle?
used to have a bicycle.
Scooter or anything?
I can remember when bicycles were a real good way of transportation, to work. And there were some people lived quite a ways. They were Catholic people, and they were about 4 of the older boys, and here they come on bicycles, you know. It looked fun.
So you didn't have a bicycle run? They want to know about feeding babies. Probably everybody nursed their baby, but when they got a little older to eat, what'd you feed them? Today they feed them cereal and go to wherever and buy baby food.
They just drank a lot of milk, and then we give them soft foods.
Smash it up or something?
Yeah. Mashed potatoes. And anything you gave them, you pulverized it before you did.
Did you ever feed any of your kids? My mom is the youngest in the family. Did you feed any of them baby food? Did they have baby food? Or?
No, we didn't have. Well, they probably had it, but we were so used to feeding them just off the table, you know, that's not.
Right.
So, I didn't buy baby food. And they got along just fine.
When you were a kid, when did you have to go to bed? When you lived at home?
Well, we had no certain time to go to bed, but we went to bed early.
Why is that?
Well, you had lamps at night, and there wasn't, you couldn't read very much. And we'd sit around and talk, but just went to bed early.
What time did you get up? How did you get up? You have alarm clocks or?
No, my dad would call us.
Did you have a rooster? They want to know. Did you have a rooster? Did you have a rooster?
Yeah, we had roosters.
Did they really crow?
Yes, they did. In the morning, I had 2 or 3 roosters, and they just crowed.
Were you always up before the roosters?
Well, can't say that I was. Maybe sometime.
Maybe. What else we got on childhood? Anything else?
No, I see that.
Oh, wait a second. Did you have Halloween?
We knew when Halloween came at school, like, the teacher would have the room decorated for Halloween. And like Valentine's Day, she'd have the room decorated for Valentine's Day. And I think we're up pretty good on things like that.
Did you trick or treat?
No.
Did? Did any kids go around and do that in the country?
I don't know if anybody did or not that I know of.
Did your kids trick or treat?
Yeah, I think they did.
All right. Let's go to some of the adult questions. Here's one. When did they start making a big deal out of drugs and illegal drugs? Did you recall?
No, they just gradually it kept coming up in the papers, you know, how bad it was. But,
Did you hear anything about it like in the 20s or 30s?
not really. I don't remember it being really bad. It could have been,
Some of them were illegal in the 20s and
but I
30s.
don't remember any. It just seemed like in the last few years it's got really bad.
Like 60s on?
Yeah.
Go.
What did you think about Adolf Hitler?
Well, I didn't think he was a very nice person. No, I've read about a lot about Adolf Hitler. He didn't have a very good outlook on life, I didn't think.
Well, in 38, 39, 40, in that time frame, when you started hearing bits and pieces about Hitler, was he thought of as bad as he was, let's say, even after the war, when you heard about concentration camps and things like that?
Yes, I just thought it was bad.
Was it worse after the war?
Well, I don't know that it was, it's because it was bad from the beginning. All you'd hear was bad. You didn't hear.
Nothing good?
No, I didn't hear anything good. He was always scheming.
Where did you have your children?
In the home.
In your home?
Doctors come to you.
I don't know. Were you born in a home? Were you born in a hospital? Well, we can rule out this one. They want to know if you remember seeing Gone with the Wind when it first came out, but
I remember when Gone with the Wind come out and people talked about it. And it must have been a good movie because I heard a lot of people talk about it.
didn't make it.
Say anything about it.
What else you see on here? You want to know? We're running out of time, so we need to hurry.
Where were you when you heard JFK was shot?
Everybody talks about knowing where they were when JFK was shot. Do you remember when John F. Kennedy was shot?
Oh, yes. We were in our living room and my son was visiting from California and we were just stunned when we heard it. But we were getting ready to go to my son's house up in Anderson. And we were all nervous. You know, it was a bad thing to hit you. Because try to realize, you know, it really happened.
Right.
And of course, that's all we thought about at the time.
Did you like Kennedy? Did you? I got one for you. I came up with this one. Did you ever talk, or do you remember talking to people that had been in the Civil War or lived through the Civil War as a kid, or know old people around it?
I've known old people that were in it or had someone in it, but they never seem to want to talk, and it's just the same. And they come back from World War I, they never wanted to talk about anything.
But you did know some people that had been in the Civil War?
Yeah, when I was young, there was, maybe they weren't in it, but they had someone in it that they talked
Right.
about.
They lived through that time period.
Yeah.
What, do you remember hearing stuff about Al Capone and people like that?
Yeah, I remember that too.
What did you think about Al Capone?
Well, he was very nice.
He wasn't very nice. Why,
Their Dillinger wasn't very nice either.
did they make a big deal out of gangsters? Was there a big deal made about gangsters in the news and whatnot?
I suppose. I don't remember.
Did you get a paper?
In later years, we got people, but when I was a kid, we didn't get people.
Kid. Let's see.
What were you told about atomic weapons?
When the atomic bombs first came out, what did they make a big deal out of that, or?
That was a sad time, even if it was used on an enemy, it still was sad to think about it. So many, affected so many lives, and some of them lived on but were scarred and suffered the rest of their life from this. Something to think about.
Did they tell you about radiation, and did they tell the public about radiation and radioactive
Yeah.
fallout, those things? What was your first car you and your husband owned?
You know, I can't think of the name of it, but we bought a car from my brother-in-law. And it wasn't a Chevy or a Ford, but I can't think of it, but I don't remember what it was.
About what year was that? Would that have been?
That was in the 1932.
1932, first car. So you were 30 years old before you had a car?
Yes.
Have you ever had a driver's license?
Okay.
Have you ever had a driver's license?
No.
No?
Because I drove a little bit. But you didn't have to have a license.
Oh, you didn't?
But my family was growing up, and there was always a driver going up there to take the hill.
Take care of
But
it.
therefore, I didn't have to ever drive.
What'd your husband do for a living?
But you didn't have to have a license.
Oh, you didn't?
But my family was growing up, and there was always a driver going up there to take the hill.
Take care
But
of it.
therefore, I didn't have to ever drive.
What'd your husband do for a living?
He worked at Renfro. He worked at the children's soldier and sailor's home for about 15, 20 years, and then he went to Delco.
That's, yeah, more than one.
You know how many great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren you have?
I'm sorry, honey.
Do you know how many great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren that you have?
No, I've got 25 grandchildren,
How many?
and I lost track of the great-grandchildren.
There are a boatload of people every time we
And
have a
I've
meeting.
got, I suppose, 10 or 12 great-grandchildren. Fifth generation.
Anybody have anything else? We're running out of time. Get started a little late, so. Well, thanks for coming in again today.
I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry I couldn't hear your questions, and I can't see very good, and I can't hear very good. But I'm glad to be here. And I wish you all the best in the world. God bless you. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord. I try to live right. I do live right. He lives.
Oh, yeah. I can vouch for it.
I never heard that they took religion, teaching of the Bible out of school. I think that's the saddest thing that could have been done, because that's our real guidance.
You're doing prep school, eh?
So